All right, we're going to do this quick. We're going to do this in one take. Press conference.
I was down, but now I'm up. Yeah, this all God, this ain't no love. Yeah.
Kind of nothing. Market reverted back to the mean. Still one rate cut this year. Powell said inflation likely to be sticky and persist throughout 2024. Again, not great for your rate expectations. However, inflation over a longer time period should be really great for equities. Equities tend to rally. As inflation rallies, a reinflation trade would be an everything melt up trade. If the stagflation narrative continues, watch gold. If it starts to rally back up, it means the stagflation narrative is in control. That's not great for stocks. Will be great for minerals and other raw materials. Keep an eye on copper because the supply issues that are causing the inflation will be really great, especially when paired with the AI narrative, which is heavily reliant on copper. Okay, now when it looks at like what we were hoping for was that trend to develop post Fed conference. We are not seeing that. In fact, when I look at the technicals, this looks like we're building up for a chop fest. Instead of selling May and go away, we're having a chop in May and have delay. They had some patience. I'm gonna be playing individual names. I'm gonna be playing short term. Watch this trend line developing here. Let's see if we come up and touch it a few more times on the way down. I do have some longer dated puts in May that have just been kind of like, I mean, it's been a wild ride for those. So the shorter term plays, I mean, we made 9 trades today, closed 7 of them, all were winners, 2 of them are losers, and I swung them. So what are those? Well, join the Discord if you want to see what those are. I'll do a type up in there. So the other thing though that we definitely need to talk about is Bitcoin. Bitcoin looks awful. Okay, Bitcoin looks Bitcoin looks worse than it has in a while. And you know, when we were in this chop fest, it was still showing some bullish indications, especially here recently when it was trying to fire on the TTM. I was like, okay, you know, right about here, I was like, this could be really bullish, and people wouldn't expect it to be as bullish as I see right now. A lot of people were just kind of in the middle ground, right? I mean, the maxis are always bullish, but they're in a cult. They're not real investors or traders. They're just religious about it at this point. But what I'm looking at this right now, full risk off for me. I was pinging the Discord members. I went risk off from 62 to 60. Now we're at 57. I'm looking to do some buying around 52. If it does show some improvement for there, I'm going to keep a close eye on this. If it does some improvement before that, I'll go ahead and come back in. I will share that one of the ways I am also reflecting the sentiment is I'm short on Coinbase. Really risky to do ahead of earnings. Okay, earnings is tomorrow afternoon. Really risky to do that in earnings. But I think regardless of what happens in earnings, if Bitcoin has this, 5K gap down, coin's going to move to the downside. Same with MSTR. If you want to play that instead of coin, just be aware it's very expensive, very volatile. Watch that implied volatility. Make sure you don't get rugged on that and then suck all the premium of the contracts. It can be MSTR could be awful. You could have these bounces and then you'll come bounce to a new low, but you won't make more money because of your implied volatility. So you need to have a close eye on that. If you want to know how to set that up, ask me in the Discord. I'll show you how to track that. But this looks awful. I'm expecting more downside. And one of the other things you're going to want to have on your eye as well is what's going on with TLT. I think the market was getting really excited today about bonds, showing some strength. And honestly, there is some strength there. Okay. If we look at the daily, it's strong. If we look at the 4-hour, it's leaning bullish, kind of. Actually, our RSI really hasn't improved here, but the TTM looks fairly decent. You don't want it to see it that flat, but it's looking okay. 1 hour is looking okay as well. The thing is that this weekly needs to improve. I need to see this weekly rollover. I need to see this RSI also show some improvement. I need some higher lows to build here. If it does show some improvement, this could cause the market to kind of relax a bit, start to price in some more rate cuts, but you would probably need some sort of event to bring that. I am in some TLT long positions. I do held shares of TLT as well. However, the big thing there is that it's slow. It's such a slow macro trade. And honestly, it hasn't even done well as Like for a diversified portfolio, we have seen no safety in bonds even when the market starts to sell off. There's a lot of reasons for this, but you just have to be extremely patient with that one. Macro moves very slow, one data point a month. That's all you get, or one Fed press conference every other month. So that's the big thing I'm looking for there. Okay. And so summary, press conference, whatever. Trend development, not there. Looks like chop. Bitcoin, sell off. Watch individual names. Watch these earnings reports. Probably some opportunity. We saw Qualcomm was strong. That could also mean that Apple's going to be strong. Apple's also pretty cheap right now. Although, there's plenty of reasons to be bearish on Apple. But honestly, price is all that matters. Price action as well. And honestly, I wouldn't be too surprised if it decides to melt up. Keep in mind, it's a lot smaller portion of things like QQQ that it has been in a long time, so it's not going to have as big of a move on the market. I think most people have caught on to that, but in case you haven't, I'll just throw that out there. Watch those names, watch the AI narratives, keep an eye out for NVIDIA as well. Watch that price action. If NVIDIA is melting, the SPY seems fine. SPY will probably catch up to it. Watch SMCI before you watch NVIDIA. If SMCI melts, this has literally worked for like a month now. This big meltdown on SMCI this morning, and then NVIDIA isn't moving. I mean, this is like SMCI is melting and NVIDIA like kind of tries to chop back up. If this is front run NVIDIA, like, I don't know how many times have we done this trade? Probably like 5 or 6 times where SMCI front runs the NVIDIA move every single time. And NVIDIA contracts move crazy. So when you day trade them, you can just get such big wins. So that's a repeatable trade. Keep an eye out for it. There's a little nugget for you. There's a little bit of value. Hope you enjoyed it. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. That's my update. I mean, I want to tell you, like, I see this big trade's coming up, these puts are going to print, and I think the puts are going to print. I'm going to keep the trade on for these long dated SPY puts just because I'm still looking to finish this retracement. I still hold the belief that we could get it, but honestly, I might roll those out for more time, because when I look at this chart, and when I look at these technicals, as of right now, this could change even before the end of the week, depending on how those earnings go, right? That's what makes this so tough. But it's okay if it's tough. I'm up for a challenge, but it does mean that you have to exercise patience. So I might roll those contracts a bit, and look for some more time, and look to see if this month wants to put us through some more pain and just more roller coaster through these earnings reports. And that means you gotta start hunting for individual names, and only taking SPY if you get multiple confirmations. Okay, if we do actually get over that 503, maybe then you could look for a small move to 508. As long as you're watching the 1 hour, make sure it's confirming the sentiment. Over the 508, you're actually probably a little bit more bullish. What could make me really bullish is if we actually get over this trend line right here. Okay, over that trend line, there's a trend. If you touch it, not the trend, over it. Ideally, you want to see breakout, retest, boom. Okay, that's what you want to see. Until then, chop fest. That's what I'm saying. And I'm leaning bearish still, even though it's not the greatest signals. All right, that's all I got for you.